and climate change in the form of the drought we're in right now. This week, Boise Mayor Lauren McLean made a plea along with leaders from our major healthcare systems for people to get vaccinated to slow the spread of the coronavirus, especially now with the more contagious Delta variant. The city also recently instated a mask mandate at all indoor city facilities because of increased community spread of COVID and low vaccination rates in Ada County. It applies to everyone regardless of their vaccination status. The city is also working to tackle the problems of affordable housing and homelessness with new initiatives. The city has also set a new climate goal to be carbon neutral by 2050, a big effort to go green. And just added an awesome new amenity for people to enjoy, another park right in the heart of downtown, named in honor of retired Idaho lawmaker and human rights advocate Cherie Buckner Webb. So as you see, a lot of big issues going on in the city, and it is a lot to talk about today with my guest, Boise Mayor Lauren McLean. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. It's great to see you.
Good to see you too. So how concerned are you about the new surge in COVID cases and hospitalizations?
You know, I'm really concerned, and we heard clearly from doctors last week when they joined me to share with the public their own concerns, that what we're seeing right now is not what we want to see, what we expected to see. And I know that after this last year and a half, it's been so hard for all of us. It's so hard to think about the steps that need to be taken to protect each other right now. But we're doing everything we can in our own facilities to take care of our employees and the public in them, and working closely with medical professionals to make the decisions we've got to make.
As I mentioned, the city issued a mask mandate for all indoor city facilities, regardless of vaccination status. Are you and council considering reinstating other restrictions to fight the surge, such as maybe limiting gathering sizes again or issuing a mask mandate citywide?
That's a great question. And right now what we're doing is what we've done this entire time, and that is work closely with medical professionals, ask and hear from them what they think we ought to be doing, and recognizing that we have to protect people and public health first in order for our community to thrive. And so we took the first step in conjunction with medical professionals to do as all employers should be doing, which is protecting their employees by having mask mandates within our own facilities. And we'll continue to monitor the data and listen to the needs from public health professionals in our hospital systems.
We have big events coming up pretty soon, like Tree Fort Music Festival, which was rescheduled. As of right now, are those all still a go, or are they at risk of being canceled?
Every event organizer is looking closely at how they continue to do what they want to do for the community in ways that will protect the community. And I really appreciate the leadership we've seen from businesses, event organizers, and others, such as the markets downtown, that want to continue to be able to operate and ensure that we're all safe while we enjoy each other. And so right now, I expect that any leader of an organization or an event is doing as we've done, which is monitoring the data, making sure the plans are right, and taking every step they can to protect those of us that will enjoy the events in the future.
The city of Nampa just adopted a resolution saying it won't require its employees to be vaccinated as a condition of employment. Where do you stand on that issue for the city of Boise? Will the city require employees to be vaccinated?
Well, right now the city is offering an incentive to our employees that will get a vaccination, doing everything we can do to encourage vaccinations. And of course, until those rates are higher, we'll have masks in our facilities. At this point, we don't anticipate a vaccine mandate. Instead, we're looking at ways that we can work with our employees to ensure that they've got the information they need to feel comfortable taking the safe step and the best step to protect all of us, and that is to get a vaccination.
Mayor, there's a lot to talk about, as I mentioned, so let's switch gears now to affordable housing and the shortage we're seeing with that. In recent years, the city's been working to build more affordable housing projects, and the latest one that we have some renderings of is a planned apartment building at State and Arthur that will have at least 35 units for families earning 30 to 100% of area median income, with an emphasis on households earning less than 60% of median income. My question for you is, how critical are projects like this right now?
Well, we have made it a priority to ensure that we have taken every step we can as a city in partnership with others to make sure that we've got a home for everyone here in Boise. And projects like this are incredibly critical. And I was so excited to see this second rendition or second unfurling of an important strategy to us, which is looking at all the land that we have in city ownership and making sure that if it's good for housing, that we make it available for housing. And this will be an incredible opportunity to provide homes for working Boiseans who need a place to live and are part of our community, and in partnership with a developer who's using our land bank model.
Part of that plan for this new development at State and Arthur is that 5 units in that building will be dedicated to the Our Path Home program, which is a public-private partnership to end homelessness in Ada County. What kinds of things does Our Path Home do to address these issues and challenges?
Sure. Our Path Home is an incredibly important partnership. The city's honored and proud to be a part of it. And it's a public-private partnership. So we work closely with nonprofits and other service providers in our community to ensure that we're taking every step we can to serve those who are experiencing homelessness, and importantly, preventing more folks in our community from falling into homelessness. And so by dedicating some units in this upcoming new neighborhood for our residents, we're helping meet the goals of ending family homelessness, as well as preventing homelessness in the long run.
And I want to mention there's a great new resource for people in a housing crisis right now, having trouble paying rent or in danger of losing their homes or apartments. The Our Path Home just recently launched a housing crisis hotline that I can put up on the screen. The number there is 208-336-HOME. It's 208-336-HOME. So if you're having a crisis with housing, call that number. They have a bunch of resources and information. Mayor, also a couple months ago, you announced the creation of the Shelter Better Task Force in partnership with Our Path Home to address homelessness. What are your hopes for what the task force will produce? What's its purpose?
Sure, and thanks for sharing that number. It's incredibly important right now as folks in our community are struggling, that we make sure they have every resource possible. And it's calling 336-HOME if you need help. There are emergency rental assistance funds that we're working with others to provide. We have utilities support if you need it. And we want to make sure that people in our community in this tough time in particular have the support they need to stay in the home that they have. It's really important. And the Shelter Better Task Force falls into that in so many ways, because I called together a group of community leaders to have a conversation about how Boise can be a model, not only in ensuring that folks have a home, but in meeting the emergency needs of shelter as people have them. And so I've charged this task force with the job of coming back to me with a recommendation on how we can better, as a community in partnership with providers, provide emergency shelter and then meet the housing needs of residents here in Boise.
As we've seen skyrocketing rental rates and home values and everything, from your vantage point, how serious is the affordable housing crisis now?
You know, I've heard for the last 2 years, even before COVID, from so many Boiseans that have been struggling. As rents have risen, there's more and more demand and competition to get into a home. And so it was a priority of ours from the beginning that we leave no stone unturned when it came to partnerships, when it came to policy ideas, when it comes to bringing people together to address these tough needs. And COVID and the pandemic in many ways has just been an accelerant. We're growing in ways that we've not experienced as a community before. People have struggled financially. The market is responding to the growth by making it harder for folks to get into a home, find an apartment. And it's incumbent on all of us to take every step that we can. First, to keep people housed. Second, to ensure that we have enough homes for everyone, and that we're doing everything as a city that we can to encourage the building and creation of affordable housing that's affordable to Boiseans on Boise budgets. And that's what you're seeing at State and Arthur. It's what you're seeing at Franklin and Orchard. We're looking at other opportunities with our own land and calling on businesses and other agencies to partner with us, because it's a time in our community where we're growing and people need housing at Boise budgets, and we are doing everything we can every day to meet that need.
The affordable housing issue is also attached to a 160-acre plot of land near the airport, commonly known as Mergerdio Park. I believe that's how it's pronounced. That's been in the news a lot lately. Neighbors argue the land can only be used for a park, not for residential purposes. You've said you would like to see more affordable housing built there. You recently kind of tapped the brakes on plans for the plot, though. Why did you do that?
Sure. So we were looking at and doing due diligence on a land trade because it was a way that we as a city could ensure that the housing on that land came into the market at rates affordable to Boiseans. We didn't want to just auction it off like we've seen other agencies and cities do. So Boiseans have made clear that we need homes affordable at Boise budgets. We need more. So as a city, we're looking at every property that we have in our inventory and seeking to determine the best use for it and how it can meet the community need, which is housing at Boise budgets.
So what would you ultimately like to see for the whole property there? Could it end up being a combo of affordable housing and a park, or what do you see?
I think there's a ton of opportunity. And, we had to do the due diligence on the land trade and it didn't work out. And so now we have another opportunity to engage the community, hear from people across the city. It's got a pencil for existing Boise residents, but I've sat down with the neighborhood association presidents. We've had great conversations about our long-term goals of community engagement and a good plan for that piece of land as well as so many others in the city.
And I want to mention that there is a Boise City Council work session on August 17th to talk about the process moving forward, and it is open to the public. Well, Mayor,
and if I could jump in
please.
too, we're going to have a housing strategy and presentation in general also that I'd love the public to know about. And we've done a lot of work. We want to engage the community. The council's committed to ensuring that we leave no stone unturned when it comes to housing supports and incentives and partnerships. And so we'll have a longer conversation about our housing strategy in general, the expectations of our residents, the partnership that we want to create with so many people to be able to ensure that housing is coming online at Boise budgets.
And the way I understand it is there will be space for people to attend those meetings in public, but also online, correct?
Yeah.
All right, well, coming up next, we're going to get the mayor's viewpoint on a major environmental initiative in the city of trees and on a really nice addition to the environment of downtown Boise, a new park in honor of a special lady. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Viewpoint. In June, Boise City Council unanimously approved an ambitious set of climate action goals. The goal is for Boise city government to be carbon neutral by 2035 and for the entire city and community by 2050. But how would this be achieved? My guest today is Boise Mayor Lauren McLean. Again, Mayor, thanks for being here today. So why is this initiative important and necessary?
Sure. Thanks for that question. This for us is all about people. And in needing to address the impacts of climate, if we want to make sure that our homes are available and affordable, we need to have clean energy, that our jobs continue to evolve as the world changes for our kids and grandkids. We need to be thinking about that transition. And so we've set out, and I so appreciate the partnership with the council and of course the expectations of the community that we lead on this, to create a path with our climate action plan to get us to the point where as a city government by 2035 we're carbon neutral. Then we're going to use those learnings and make sure that citywide we are too, so that we have the best jobs, clean energy, affordable energy, enough water, and everything that we need for this city and region as we move into the future for our kids and grandkids.
All right, so what does being carbon neutral mean?
So there's a lot that it'll entail. It requires us to move our electricity to clean sources, so clean electricity. It requires us to expand our geothermal system where we can, because that's clean heat. We need residents to take action, thinking about walking to school or the park more, reducing their trips where they can. We're looking at making sure that we have clean, usable water in the long run so that water remains affordable and available as our days are hotter. And we want to expand our tree canopy because that keeps our homes cooler, which means our power bills will be lower and our neighborhoods more livable. So there's so many steps that we're taking in conjunction with our residents to meet these ambitious but achievable goals.
Yeah, a couple years ago, the city started the Trees Challenge of planting 100,000 trees. How's that going? I checked the website the other day and it looks like about 26 or 2,700 trees have been planted in the first year and a half.
So we were so proud of the first year because it was a COVID year, right? And so Council President Clegg's leadership on this issue has been so important. And as part of our America the Beautiful 30 by 30 initiative, we're looking at nearly doubling our tree canopy, and we do that year by year, asking folks who are planting trees to register them so that they can be counted, and looking at how we as a city can provide more trees throughout the neighborhoods of our community, particularly those that have less shade cover than other neighborhoods, because there's so many added health and livability benefits to the trees.
Okay, so the city, as you mentioned, has that 100% clean energy goal, I think by the year 2030. Does that mean like shifting the entire fleet of city vehicles to, including, police cars, fire trucks, to electric models, or is that not part of this? Is this more about buildings and other facilities?
Oh, great question. It's electrification of our fleet. It's looking at how we build. I'm really proud of the fact that our most recent police station is 100% electric, and it's beating all of the energy projections that we had. But we are looking at electrifying our fleet, and super excited that we will have, in conjunction with Republic Services, 10 electric garbage trucks for the city of Boise. We're bringing them on this fall. I rode in one a couple weeks ago with a driver who loved that it was quiet, it wasn't hot, and really appreciated that the company was thinking about the future, because that would mean he'd always have a job. And so we're looking at ways, in partnership with Idaho Power, who's a leader in the space, we can electrify our fleet, because it's an important strategy in meeting our goals.
How important is it for the city to have this resource that is the geothermal system, and how is it being used already, I guess, and how do you hope to expand it?
Well, we have one of the largest geothermal systems in the world, and so it's really important. It's a way to provide clean heat today and into the future. Throughout our buildings downtown, many have tapped into it. We've got the Live District near Trader Joe's where we extended the line. We've extended the line to Boise State. And of course, we'll look at other ways to do the same, extend it to others. We're going to need help from the Department of Energy, from businesses that want to tap into this and see it as a solution to their own desire to have clean heat and power into the future. And we're lucky as a community that we have this resource.
Is that mostly at this time kind of used for heating of buildings?
Yeah, it's heating, and there's new technology now that allows you to recycle the water and use it a couple times. So when the system first was started, the state house is on geothermal. That the state has a system. There are neighborhood geothermal systems, and then the city system that we have. Over the last 100 years, the technology has evolved, and there's a ton of opportunity moving forward to have it as a solution to some of our heating needs.
Now, the city, of course, has a recycling program. It has a composting program. And now you're also looking at instituting a renewable water program. How key would that be, and when do you think that might be able to roll out?
So this fall, we're going to be asking voters to weigh in on how they would like to pay for updates to the sewer system, which we call the water renewal system, and then how we prepare for growth, because residents, our kids, 20 years from now, are going to need a sewer system that we need to build today. And so we'll be asking residents if they want to pay for it up front with raised rates, or pay for it over the amount of time that it's being built and used into the future with bonds. An important part of that will be a water renewal component, because as our days get hotter and we're experiencing a drought right now, we want to make sure that residents have access to clean, usable water, or businesses have access to clean, usable water. And so it's a smart investment in the future as we're building out updates and a new sewer system to ensure that a part of that allows us to reuse some of that water.
Okay. Well, there are also green space and open space initiatives, and the city just dedicated the latest addition to the city park system this week. It is Cherie Buckner Webb Park at 11th and Bannock Streets downtown. We can show some video of that from this week's dedication ceremony. First of all, let's talk about Cherie, a former state representative and senator. She was the first black woman elected to the Idaho legislature, human rights advocate, instrumental in the creation of the Idaho Black History Museum, and has been on several nonprofit boards. So why did the city want to honor her this way with such a really beautiful park right in the heart of downtown?
Well, I really appreciate the piece that you did on Wednesday as well, sharing the history of Cherie with our community. This community wanted to honor Cherie because of the deep, deep impact she's had. And she has impacted the city, impacted the state. There are hundreds of people that she's impacted personally with her coaching and guidance and cheerleading. And I thought it was incredibly special to see on Thursday night the number of people that showed up to celebrate her. Someone said to me, I didn't know so many people showed up for parks openings. And I had to be clear with them that it's not normal. And it really was a testament to the impact that Cherie has had on her community, and telling as to why it was so important that we honor her now.
I know it means a ton to her. You can just hear it when she talks about it and how humbled she is. And, she says she did the work because the work needed to be done, but this is a great honor and she really appreciates it. So we see the video of the green or the pink tree there with the swings on it too. Very unique aspect to any park I've ever seen. What do you think?
It's very unique. I love it. I've been over a couple times since it was being installed just to watch. And what I love so much about it is when I'm there, like a couple days before we dedicated the park, I went over, had a meeting on a swing, and the whole time that I was there, people were coming up, parking, walking out of their car, staring at the tree, taking a picture, and then waiting for a chance to swing, both, old and young alike. And it tells me that this iconic piece is going to be something that pulls people in, inadvertently creates opportunities to gather with folks you know and don't know, and really becomes an iconic part of Boise's art collection and parks collection.
What else is special about the park?
Oh, there's a lot of special about this park. I think that the art in particular, it was a risk that people took. I appreciate the artist's work, the committee's work to select it, the engagement in the community in giving the artist what he needed to create this sculpture. The fact that it is right in an urban area in the shade in the afternoon is unexpected and lovely. And also that it will pull people together and create a place, not only where you come together, you can work there because there's free Wi-Fi, you can sit on a swing, have a meeting with a cup of coffee, but to talk about the impact of a woman in our community, and that is Cherie Buckner-Webb.
Mayor, I really appreciate your time in these busy times, and so thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you so much. It was great to join you. I appreciate it.
Covered a lot of ground, too. Thank you so much. Well, I'll be back with that housing crisis hotline number again if you or someone you know is in a housing crisis and having trouble paying rent or making a mortgage. We'll be right back. As I mentioned earlier, Our Path Home, the public-private partnership working to end homelessness in Ada County, has a housing crisis hotline. The number is on the bottom of your screen. It's 208-336-HOME. That's 336-4663. The easier way to remember it probably is 336-HOME. So if you're having trouble paying rent or facing eviction, the hotline has housing resources, information, and support for you or someone you know. Idaho Housing and Finance also has programs such as rental assistance to help people statewide who are facing a housing crisis. You can go to their website for more information. That's all of our time for this week's Viewpoint. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Doug Petcash. I'll see you right back here next Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for another Viewpoint.